We've all played hide and seek at least once in our lives. How could any of us forget the thrill of running to our best hiding spot, waiting anxiously for the seeker to move on while we hold our breath, and booking it in an all-out sprint to the safe zone once we had an opening? Stealth games give us the opportunity to relive that excitement, but it seems like more and more developers are overlooking the genre as a whole in order to focus their attention on competing more popular markets. In the current market of fast-paced action games and competitive multiplayer experiences, it's hard not to ask, have stealth games peaked? Hello fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hard Light Network. The stealth genre is as old as gaming, with titles such as Hitman, Metal Gear, Tenchu, and Thief on the roster from the very beginning. With such an impressive track record, you would think that these games would occupy more space in the libraries of gamers everywhere. However, few franchises came up on pure stealth gameplay, and fewer still have remained that way. The stealth genre is facing the same issue as all others. The emergence of new hybridized game models has seen these OGs reduced to their core components, all to sell more complex first-person shooters, with the stealth elements of the design often added as an afterthought. Jokes aside, it's getting harder to find games that are able to stand out as examples of these popular genres that isn't also just a reimagining of old material and mechanics. And in my opinion, the stealth genre has suffered the worst of all. Essentially, every stealth game in recent memory can be boiled down to a hardened assassin with elite skills, a preternatural sense of situational awareness, and a troubled past is motivated by forces unknown to carry out missions only they can. Though this is hardly the worst premise to work from, the lack of innovation in modern stealth is particularly glaring.
Jack, it's time for Fox to clear its name. The situation has changed. We've still got a chance to come out of this one alive. This morning, I had a meeting with the CIA. Put it simply, in order to avoid a full-scale nuclear conflict, we have to prove that America was not involved in that explosion. You're the only one capable of pulling this off. Screw this one up, we'll both be sick to be done.
Understood. Commencing Operation Snake Eater.
Metal Gear is an iconic series for many reasons, but chief among them are its legendary approach to stealth gameplay, a truly cinematic and deep experience even from the series' inception. Metal Gear is a cornerstone of the gaming world at large, and it stands as a titan of the stealth genre. This is one of the few games I've played in the genre that deserves the heading tactical espionage action. Born from the mind of Hideo Kojima, this series is exceptional in every way, offering a rich and complex experience well beyond the confines of its core stealth gameplay. Metal Gear set the standard for many stealth games that would follow, mechanics such as line of sight, noise generation, and AI patrols to name a few. The espionage elements really shine through in the use of a wide array of gadgets and tools to solve problems and advance through missions, as well as Snake's proficiency in gathering intel by eavesdropping on enemies and finding notes and recordings.
Hey, you hear about the special ships guys have been pulling at the old prison area the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, some high-value prison or something. You get that duty and kiss your break time goodbye, man. My buddy was crying on my shoulder about it.
That place has been dead for years. Now we got these, I don't know who's, bringing in enemy combatants from stateside.
Right. And the CO is tearing his hair out.
I feel like I'm living in a prison, man.
The writing and world building is incredible, with a particular ability to present serious elements alongside wild and theatrical set pieces, without losing players' attention and respect for the underlying themes. Dialogue is immersive while also communicating the more gamified elements clearly and concisely. NPCs are capable of delivering believable and realistic dialogue in one moment and instructing you to press the action button in order to save your progress without skipping a beat or breaking immersion.
Mission info has been updated.
This is an infiltration mission. You've got to stay out of sight. Before you go any further, use your binoculars to recon the area. To climb an obstacle, press the action button. There's a guard up there. If you're going to eliminate him, use a gun. Now head east to the old prison area. You can bring up the target's location on your iDroid. Contact me if you need advice.
All of this is built on the strongest stealth foundation the genre has seen, with its every iteration building on the last. My favorite entry in the series, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, had a camouflage mechanic that was both functional and fun, with different colors of camo and face paint offering a greater bonus to your stealth depending on your environment. Later entries in the series would streamline this system into one that would rely more on navigating carefully and strategically through enemy-occupied territory, with camo factoring in automatically, placing a greater emphasis on player skill rather than item bonuses. With the end of the Metal Gear series and rumors of a remake for MGS3 on the horizon, I'd say that the sun has set on a beloved franchise. However, the enduring love and support from the fanbase, it's likely that these games will continue to be played far into the future, with generations of young gamers being introduced to these amazing games.
Okay, target is in. iDroid to listen to it.
The beloved Empress dead. And everyone thinks you're the killer. But we know what really happened, don't we?
All members of the Watch, we are now under high alarm. Stay alert and detain any suspicious person on site.
Dishonored is a series I hold in high regard. From the tight controls and open level design to the ethical and moral decisions at the center of every mission and truly inspired setting, there is a lot to appreciate from these games. The first game in particular was a strong entry, with the second game building on the firm foundation laid by its predecessor. Regardless of how well the first two games were received, the series was not without its problems. The first game was arguably the strongest entry in the series, establishing the lore and core gameplay elements. Advertised for its emphasis on player choice, the game delivered in spades. As the player, you can choose between multiple paths, powers, lethal and non-lethal resolutions, gadgets, upgrades, and more. There is an impressive amount of content packed into the core game's 9 main missions, with the DLCs offering even more replayability as well as expanding the world and lore of the series. I don't have a lot of gripes with the first game at all, and it's an easy recommendation for anyone watching this video. If you haven't played it yet, Dishonored is an exemplary title in the stealth genre.
Somebody, get over here! That's the end of you.
Dishonored 2 left me with mixed feelings. While I eventually grew to love it and appreciated the way that it expanded on the previous game's mechanics, my initial impression of the game was not great. Most of my complaints are limited to the game's opening, that somehow manages to feel rushed and incredibly drawn out. Though the pacing is similar to the first game, so much of the exposition is packed into the short intro cinematic that you barely have time to process what's happening before being thrown into the action. This is on top of the technical issues plaguing this section. The game's default settings are incredibly hostile to even the beefiest of computers, and though it's possible to make it playable without sacrificing too much on the resolution, there are also problems with the dialogue between characters overlapping in odd places.
Her Imperial Majesty, Emily Caldwin.
Loyal subjects, we're going through a difficult time, but today we honor my mother, the late Jessamine Caldwin. May her memory survive through the ages.
Emily.
You look tired, Father.
Every year, I think the anniversary of Jessamine's death will be easier, but it never is. You're still learning. Don't worry about the rabble-rousers, and we'll catch the Crown Killer, eventually.
People are saying it's you. That these assassinations are a misguided effort to protect me.
Someone's trying to make us look guilty.
I wish I could just run away from all
Sometimes
this.
you do. You think I don't know about your nights out on the rooftops? Courage. The ceremony will be over soon.
Royal Protector and Father. I should have passed a law against that combination of titles years ago.
However, if you can push through, the game immediately opens up to a familiar world of Victorian science and superstition. The ability to create and customize bone charms, as well as powers, is a welcome improvement, adding even more depth to an already incredible game. Navigating the world is as smooth as it ever was, with tight controls and even more variety in the level design than before. Despite the poorly executed introduction, in many ways, Dishonored 2 is the perfect sequel.
But it's still better than a bunch of howlers running through the checkpoint and knifing us to death.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah,
Just have to finish my shift. Then I can go home. Put my feet up.
Who opened this door?
I wonder who that was.
I never asked for this. If you want to make enemies, try to change something. The year is 2027. It's a time of great innovation and technological advancement. It's also a time of chaos and conspiracy. I don't even know whose side I'm on.
Breaking news. The riots continue in the streets of Detroit. Protesters rallying outside of Seraph Industries, one of the world's leaders in the controversial science of human augmentation.
These people, Adam, they're like ghosts. Always in the shadows. Always hiding behind lies. Proxy soldiers. I need you to find them. They cannot stop us. They cannot stop the future.
I never had a choice of what happened to me.
How do you feel, Adam? The body may heal, The mind is not always so resilient.
Corporations have more power than the government. Everyone's fighting for power, for control.
Help! Please!
You to hell!
Police have opened fire on the crowd.
You'll never find them! I'll never stop looking.
Deus X is a series that I personally feel was the victim of cursed origins. While not traditionally a stealth game from its conception, this cyberpunk RPG shooter would eventually give way to a more refined reboot, sporting a much stronger emphasis on stealth gameplay. While this series probably represents a more hybridized gameplay model overall, I thought it was important to highlight the stealth elements in particular in this video. While the original game included rudimentary stealth elements, the newer games would expand on them greatly, allowing us to tap into a selection of customizable augments that not only increased our capabilities, but our mobility as well, with a greater portion of augments focusing on navigation and stealth rather than combat. The sequel would both balance and expand these abilities with advanced experimental augmentations, with Deus X coming on the scene a full year earlier than Dishonored, and an established track record of upholding player choice. It's easy to make the claim that Deus Ex was an inspiring force on the popular stealth title. For better or worse, I think the later games in the series did a lot to cement this franchise firmly in the stealth genre. Though some of the more complex RPG elements may have been lost as a result, the increased emphasis on stealth gameplay tightened up the level design, allowing more details to be placed in the world for inquisitive and observant players. Elements popularized by other titles in the genre would appear in the franchise's final installment, Mankind Divided, in a rare example of a hybrid game adopting a more focused approach to the benefit of the overall presentation.
Step away from the console. Now! Help me! Son of a bitch! Pritchard, you still there?
Where else would I be?
Patch me to Seraph, now.
Stealth games are oftentimes a thrilling way to test your patience and ability to solve problems. Whether you are playing as a hardened secret agent or running scared from monsters, the core elements of every stealth game will see you expertly navigating around threats of every sort. However, as of late, there has been a bit of an industry drought when it comes to expansive stealth titles. The best example I can speak of in recent memory being Little Nightmares, a beautiful game with an incredible sense of pace and an utterly captivating, if tantalizingly short plot. More than anything, I am hopeful for a follow-up to the Tenchu franchise. However, with the release of Sekiro as a Souls-like game, it's unlikely that we will see another stealth-oriented ninja game anytime soon. But what do you guys think? What's your favorite stealth game and why? Do you think that the industry has any comprehensive stealth games left in it, or are we stuck with shorter and less complex titles from now on? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys. Safe travels.